YouTube model railroader fans. I'm going to pull a Benny Hill here. Of course, a bunch of you are probably too young to remember Benny Hill, but it was Thursday, March the 3rd. And it happens to be Thursday, March the 3rd, 2016. I know it's been a while. It's been a bit nuts. We've been doing college tours for my daughter. She's going to be going to college in another year or so. So we've been going around to different colleges and looking at them. And she's going to be going into music, so hey. So we've been to a few places and just checking things out. So that's one of the reasons why I haven't been on. The other reason I haven't been on is the fact that I've had other things going on. So it's been a while since I've updated. I don't even know what vlog this is. I'm not even going to attempt to think I know what vlog this is. So we're just going to run with it. Anyway, like I said, I know I haven't been online for a while. But, you know, I figured I got a couple extra minutes. I thought I'd come down here to the train room and gab for a little bit, because there are some things that I was working on before I dropped off the face of the earth for a little bit. And that's not good. It's still fluid. I just realized that my glue bottle, the top isn't closing. And I have no idea why. So I was trying to close it. Okay, now it's closed. It's been that way since I was down here working on whatever it was I was working on. I haven't touched that. How did he do it? How did he do that? For a while. In fact, I had to clean up down here because of the fact that a buddy of mine from work was supposed to come over and see the layout, and well, things have been going a little bit differently for him as well, so he's actually in the process of moving, so, you know, I don't know when it is that he'll get over here now, so, so what mess I had down here has now been picked up and put away, so it is what it is. Anyway, the other thing that I was working on, sorry, even though I cleaned up the floor of the workbench, is still an absolute disaster. Of course, you can't see the workbench. And of course, that was something that somebody had mentioned before. I get it. I know. It's one of the things I still need to work on, and I haven't figured out how I'm going to do it because of the way that this bench is set up. I've got this wonderful magnifying light that sits over top of the workbench that actually gives me some light, because if I actually turn this thing off like that, it gets a little dark. So that's kind of my spotlight. You will tell us every... I'm in one of those moods. Anyway, one of the things I was working on, as you well know, before like I said, I disappeared, was the fact that I had an issue with a locomotive that I picked up from the train show down here in Timonium, and that was the part that was the problem. If you noticed that there's a little ear that should be down here that was missing. You know, it's supposed to kind of look like that one. So, I actually, lo and behold, I got a hold of Atherin, and not only did they send me another set of jack shafts for the GP30, but they also sent me the motor mounts. So, this GP30, let me go ahead and, I'm going to pop this shell here if I can. Ooh, don't do that. There's one side. And there's the other. Okay, so we talked about the GP30 and this wonderful blue box frame that it was on, and I had to go through this thing. Let me show this side instead because I kind of screwed up, but that's beside the point. I had to go through this thing with a fine-tooth comb. I mean, not only was were the jack shafts, I'm going to use a screwdriver here, the jack shafts, which you can't see from that side. But the jack shaft that goes from the motor here back to the coupler for the gearing on both sides has been replaced. And if you're wondering why this here looks like it's like the light shining off, it is shining off of it. I had originally thought of, I guess I need to go back and explain again what exactly I picked this thing up for. I picked this thing up for $5, okay? And the only reason why I picked it up was, oh, I've got a GP that I can go ahead and cut up and make into a new model because I want to make that mashup. Well, after doing some work or doing some discovering on eBay, or not on eBay, but on Google, I found out, and also talking to Athearn, that Athearn made this frame for a very short period of time, or made the shell, not the frame, the shell, dum-dum, made the shell for a very short period of time, and it was really done in the 60s. And I have a feeling, even though this thing fits on this frame very well, it may have actually been on one of the old hi-fis. I'm not 100% certain on that, but I'm kind of thinking that it's possible. So, after I dug into it, I'm like, you know what? Because originally I was going to go ahead and hack this thing up, and then I was going to put it on another frame. I was going to hack it up and put it back on here. Well, then I had a second thought. I'm not going to hack up that frame. I'll figure out something. I'm going to use, or the shell, I keep saying I was going to hack up the shell, and I was going to put something up, but I was going to use it for something, or use it for that, and put it back on here. But then I thought, no, I really don't want to hack that shell up because of its age. That wouldn't be right. At least in my mind. I know it's my railroad, I should do what I want, but that just didn't feel right. So I thought, well, I'll just find another frame for that shell to fit on, and I'll use this frame that the GP30 was on, and I'll make another one using the shell of a GP20 that came from Mantua. Well, the shell fits on this frame perfectly. I mean, it really does. I mean, it fits on here really, really well. But then reality sets in. It's like, you know, even though this fits on this frame very nicely, I do kind of like the looks of the GP30. So then my thoughts started to creep around once again. You know, it's got this wonderful dark blue. I wonder if I could just go ahead and kind of semi-patch over, not an actual patch, well actually it would be, but kind of pick up the color of this blue and just put the Boeville and Newtown over top of the Santa Fe. Well, that could work. But I've got another thought now, and I'm actually contemplating turning around and actually putting this into 91% alcohol, because I've seen some things and I've heard from folks that works. Actually stripping all the paint off of this thing and actually putting the home road on this locomotive. I'm still not 100% sure I'm going to do that. I really don't know what I want to do. I do know that Santa Fe really doesn't fit with the Eastern railroads that I'm trying to run. Yeah, it would be kind of neat to have it on there. You could just say, well, gee, it's a lease unit, or it's a unit that we brought in. They were selling it off or whatever, and the Boeville and Newtown picked it up, and they just haven't changed the name on it. Yeah, well, I don't know about that. Anyway, so, back to the mashup. Oh, by the way, one of the things I am obviously going to need to look for this thing, and I haven't actually really started to dig into it yet, is going to be a set of handrails for this dude. That'll be another step. I still have to figure out what the heck I'm going to do with it first. If I'm going to go ahead and strip it and repaint it, if I'm just going to go ahead and see if I can pick up the blue and just kind of patch over it, or what I'm going to do, but that's another story. Anyway, so I started looking around my plethora of locomotives over here, because I do. I've got quite a bit, and I know a few people have said, well, you ought to just sell a few of them, or sell some of them off, and go ahead and get some DCC locomotives. You'll be a lot. Nah. I like my old stuff. I like to tinker. So anyway, I still want to do this mashup. So I thought, you know what? I've got this old GP9 that I picked up for, of all things, $5 about 6 years ago. And even though it's a Baltimore and Ohio, which does fit the railroad, I was looking at it going, you know, this thing is missing handrails, it's missing pieces. I know I could probably get the pieces, but you know what? This thing might look kind of interesting with a BL front end on it. So I'm now thinking about, well, the first thing was I was actually going to just use the frame, and here again take out Mr. GP20 and go ahead and put my BL front end on it. But then I realized that, well, the GP20 on a GP9 frame, the GP9s are a lot different. They got these air tanks back here and so on and so on. That's not going to look right. So we probably ought to just stick with the GP9. So then I started looking at the possibilities of going ahead and putting this BL unit on the front. So what I'm going to end up with is going to be a BL2G9. So that's the plans now. Eventually I'll get around to it. I've got other things on the railroad that need to get done, but I've also got other things that I need to take care of. First thing is getting rid of my boat, taking these college tours, working at work, working around the house. So, you know, that's one of the reasons why I haven't been on here, is because of the fact that I've been extremely busy. Sorry, I had my soldering, I've got this neat little soldering stand from when I was working on the, on that GP30 when I was putting it back together. I was just realized that I still had like solder running across the floor. Like I said, my workbench is an absolute disaster. That's one of the other things too. I still have to put a headlight in that thing. But any rate, so that I guess kind of gets you caught up with where I'm at, what I'm doing. Eventually I'll get down here and I'll actually put some more of the how-to videos together or what have you, and I've started collecting parts for my grain elevator, my scratch-built grain elevator. So, you know, it is what it is. We make time where we can and we go from there, but for the time being, unfortunately, you know, it sits. You know, I've got other things that I need to look into and other things that I need to do, so, you know, life. But eventually I will get back down here, I will get back into the swing of things and start working on this thing again, and we'll see where it goes. But, you know, I know it's been a while, but still got my ending out there. You know, speaking of which, excuse me, I know I've picked up a bunch more subscribers. I think I'm up to 112 now. I'm up to, I think it's like 3,800 views, which I appreciate everybody popping in and taking a look around and so on and so forth. Like I said, I know I haven't been on in a while, but, you know, it's still greatly appreciated seeing everybody come in and so on and so forth. And, oh, you know, it's just, it's one of these things. I know I've put up a couple of blurbs up on the Facebook page, but, you know, like I said, right now things are just really, really busy. But you know what? I'm up to 14 and a half minutes. You know the deal. Wait for the highball. Green tracks ahead. We'll catch you next time. You all have a good one. Be safe out there.